Yeah, we got a big game coming up Saturday against an old Southland rival. We've got Corpus Christi coming in here Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's an exhibition game, so it's free for everybody. We are asking for donations to the Community Foundation of Abilene. It's part of the reason we're able to play a Division I school in an exhibition. In the past, we haven't been able to do this. So to bring somebody with the quality of Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, who's going to be a top 4 team in the Southland, is preseason picked third, depending on what poll you look at, some fourth, some third in the Southland Conference, which is really good. Has Stephen F. Austin, who we're all aware of in that league now, McNeese, who was an NCAA tournament team a year ago. And so it's a really good league. They're a really good team. It's going to be a huge test for us. It's a great opportunity for, for everybody to see what this team is about. We've had one closed scrimmage with somebody else, which I was very pleased with. But man, I don't know if we're going to see the kind of pressure and the kind of intensity that we're going to see on Saturday against Corpus Christi. So I want everybody that can to come. It does not cost anything to get into the game. So it's an opportunity, man, for everybody to come and kind of see the product we're putting on the floor.
And talk about your team. A lot of new faces from just a year ago, and that seems to be the case again. I know last year you had a lot of new faces. This year, some more new faces. So talk about your team and what kind of team you guys are looking to beat this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about this year's team. I think, we did have some new faces last year, but we had a lot of returning pieces that were going to probably play the majority of the minutes. And so even though we had new guys, it wasn't like we had, we still had a lot of playing experience. This year, we're not returning a ton of playing experience. And so a lot of the new faces will be playing early. So that's been, there's been some bumps and bruises along the way, trying to learn, but it's been exciting for me. These guys are coachable. They're listening. They're excited about everything. They haven't been doing the same drills for 5, 6, sometimes 7 years anymore. And so, and then the returners we have coming back, I'm excited about. All of them played a little bit last year. I mean, 2 really, Hunter Jack and Leo played a lot last year. But other than that, Yanni, who kind of started playing towards the end of the year, Nasir started playing towards the end of the year. Both those guys were playing a lot of minutes when we went on our win streak, to finish the season last year. And so I'm excited about the returners, but, man, with all the new faces, it's today's world, right? I think we have to get used to this. There's going to be a lot of new faces every year. And so kind of figuring that out and how do we get going, I think that means that there's going to be some ups and downs, some peaks and valleys in the non-conference, which is why we play in the non-conference, though. For us, at our level, man, it's not really about how many games you win or lose in the non-conference. It's about March. And, it is what it is, man. Can you win 3 games in March? And so the whole thing is about the process, and we have a very tough, again, I think we probably put together the toughest non-conference schedule we've ever had. I thought we did that last year, but I think we outdid that this year. Not on purpose. I'm not sure how it happened, but we have some really, really good teams coming in here. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this team and how we progress throughout the non-conference so we can see, hopefully be at our best come January.
You got some good timing with your scrimmage. I'm sure it was planned that way, but football has a bye week, which means Saturdays are free.
Yeah.
What would it mean to you to be able to fill up Moody, especially for a preseason scrimmage game, especially with all those new faces, to be able to show them, hey, this is what ACU basketball is about?
Yeah, again, it's free, so hopefully we can get a lot of people. It is fall break. That's the negative to it. So the students are going to be gone. So we need the community to really show up and support us, and that's the beauty of it being free and not costing anything to get into the game. So, but man, to put a lot of people in the stands, I think it gives us a kind of a feel for what it's going to be like. This truly is a dress rehearsal. Win the game, lose the game. It doesn't go on our record. Of course, every time we step on the floor, we want to win. But, it doesn't matter ultimately. We still will do some things. Everybody on the roster will play, which is not really what you do in a regular season game. But everybody will play, just how much. This past weekend, everybody played about equal minutes in our close scrimmage. It won't be quite that way this Saturday. But still everybody will play. And so, but I think it's a great opportunity, like I said before, man, for the community to come out and really see, without having to pay for anything to get in, to see what this team's about. Because I think if they do, they're going to like regardless of the outcome, I think they're going to love how hard this team plays and how well they represent Abilene.
And for at least the last 2 seasons, you've had a really veteran presence on your team. Nothing towards Hunter Jack or Leo. They don't have quite the resume that some of the players like
Mm-hmm.
in the past have. Talk about that of just the leadership. They're going to have to step up, obviously, and then your new transfers, they're going to have to take into some of those leadership roles. Kind of talk about the dynamic of your team now.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. The last time that people were kind of curious about our roster and weren't sure if we had leadership, we started a 3-year run to the NCAA tournament. That would have been 3 if we didn't have COVID. And so I think this team has some very, very close similarities to my first year as a head coach when we went to the WAC championship game. I can tell you this, just after just competing one day against somebody else, which we can't reveal the results of that scrimmage, unfortunately, but I was very pleased. And ACU basketball is back in terms of how hard we play, how aggressive we play, how we fly around defensively. Those things are back, and I think that that's because of all the newness. We've had all these veterans in the past, and I love them all. But the problem was COVID. Like it kept these guys around longer than expected, right? And so that we didn't have a chance to really build, guys up through the program. And so it was hard to keep guys that weren't playing because they knew guys were coming back. And I think some of those guys, you kind of get tired of doing the same drills, tired of the same stuff. We got it. We don't have any of that with this team. These guys are excited. They're fired up every day when they come to practice. I don't know if it's been probably a decade since every single day I wake up, man, I'm excited to come. I can't wait for practice. I can't wait to meet with the staff in the morning. And it's been tons of fun for me so far. And I think it's the same way for the players. I really do. I think it's rubbing off on me, how we compete and how we do all that. So I think Leo and Hunter Jack are a big part of that, of bringing that energy for the first time. Like they've kind of waited 3 years, 4 years in Leo's case to kind of be the guys that are kind of the leaders and the older guys on the team. And so I think they've done a great job of really pulling those guys in. And I'll throw Colby in there too. I think that he's taken a leadership role. He knows, his situation, that he's not going to be a high-minute guy. But it matters to him, and he's taken a lot of ownership in what we do off the floor and how well-connected this team is. And so those 3 guys, along with Yanni and, and Mashai, who was a freshman, didn't play last year, but those guys coming back, they've really stepped up in terms of the connectedness of this team. But man, I'm telling you, the new faces I think is a good thing. That's nothing against who we've had. I love all those guys. Arion Simmons was with us, on Saturday, and he talked about it. He talked about how well connected this team was and how fun they were to watch. And like I said, I think ACU basketball in terms of defense, grittiness, toughness, we're back.
Really busy off season with transfers and everything like that. What made you want to get the guys that you did?
Yeah, I challenged my staff. I challenged my staff to go and find guys in the portal that were winners. And if we're being honest, there's not a whole lot of those guys in the portal, right? Why are they in the portal? And so we wanted guys that played, but also came from winning programs. If they weren't coming from one immediately, that they had won in the past, high school state championships or in junior college. And they did exactly that. Everybody that we brought in, whether it be a high school signee or a transfer portal or JUCO transfer, came from winning programs. We have somebody who played in the junior college Final Four. We have guys that won state championships or played for state championships. We have guys like Joseph Van Zant, who was at Liberty and has won a lot in his time at Liberty. And so that is not easy to do. And so I credit my staff, and it showed. It really did. It's shown in practice with the kind of energy they bring, because I think winners know what they have to do every day. And it showed in our first close scrimmage, doing things that result in winning games. And so just really, really pleased with what my staff did in the portal. And that was all about winning. Guys, they can shoot, they don't shoot, they do, skills are easy to see, but winning qualities are hard to evaluate. And I thought my staff did a really good job.
You mentioned Joseph there, coming in with a lot of experience, a lot of maturity, and a lot of winning. How have you seen him step into the team?
Man, he's taken a leadership role, which I didn't know if he would do that. And so I'm really proud of him so far. He's taken some of the young guys under his wing. I mean, you would have thought, if you come watch his practice, you would think that Joseph had been here for 4 years. He's done an unbelievable job of taking on that role. He's a guy that I think that regardless of how many points he has scored on the night or rebounds he has grabbed, I'm going to have a hard time taking him off the floor. He is. It was hard when we scripted our subs, obviously, in a close scrimmage, and it was hard for me to do that, because I wanted him on the floor. But he's done an unbelievable job in terms of leadership, which is hard for new guys to come in and do. But again, I think it helps that we don't have a ton of returners, and so he feels more comfortable.
Going to get in the power four shooting guard in the portal, what does that do for your point guards and able to just kind of run the offense and leave the other scoring to the other guys?
You talking about a player specifically, or?
I'm blanking on his name, but yeah.
Keon Williams from Oklahoma State. Yeah, so he's kind of been like Joseph. He's been a really good surprise. I knew what he brought to the table in terms of talent, but man, he's fit right in, and he has the ability to score. But he's also really unselfish. He shares the ball almost too much, maybe, and so that's what's been really good. I think the guys seeing him share the basketball and play the way he does has been really contagious, and to where we almost share the ball too much. And I've caught myself screaming, "Shoot the ball!" the other day. But yeah, so Q's huge, and then you're talking about a guy that won a state championship in high school, has won, and you could argue they were successful. I know we beat them last year, at Oklahoma State, but I would argue that maybe they overachieved a little bit in the Big 12, which I would consider winning, and so I think that he did he's coming in with those winning qualities as well. And I'll go ahead, you didn't ask this, but Cade Hornecker, who is coming in from Southern Illinois, but played at Emerald High School. His high school coach is from Abilene, went to Cooper High School. They win at a high level, probably one of the best basketball programs in the state of Texas in any classification. And so the kid knows how to win. They play a very similar style to us offensively, so he's fit right in. He's been super vocal. He's helped us in terms of our communication. In terms of a transfer, 4-year transfer, he's been great. And then Rich Smith, who's a Division II transfer, they did nothing but win, up in New York. And so he's really been helpful. His athleticism, he's fit right in. And then, of course, we got Braden, who played on a team that could have won a national championship last year at Connors State, but got upset in the Final Four. But just his ability, his toughness, he is an ACU player. And so I'm really pleased with all those transfers. And our two freshmen were both, are both talented kids that have really bought into how we're playing and learning and understand that a freshman year is a roller coaster ride. I think that they've really figured that out and are embracing that as well.
You got a lot of sizes here with Leland Machado returning, but then also going to get Hornecker. How do you look to use that?
Yeah, still trying to figure it out a little bit. We like to fly around and do some things, and I think we're going to have lineups that are small, but we're also going to have some big lineups, and we've toyed with both of those. That's what's fun about this time of our training camp, is that we get to go play other people, and we get to try different things because the result doesn't ultimately matter. And so our big lineup has been good. We've played a single post motion where we can play inside out. We're playing very differently than we did a year ago offensively, kind of going back to the way we played my first year as a head coach here, where we spread the floor, and that allows us to go smaller as well. If we can do that defensively, depending on who we're playing. And when we get small, which we did, we've done a little bit in the last couple of weeks, we get really fast. And that's the way I love to play. And I'm talking about defensively. We get really fast. And so I think I'm going to have to toy with it. I'm going to need everybody to kind of be on board. There's going to be times where you don't see any of them on the floor, but there's going to be a lot when you see maybe two of them on the floor at the same time. It gives us some options.
You mentioned that hot streak that you guys went on late last season, and seeing Yanni and Nasir kind of lead that in a lot of ways, especially in transition, like you just talked about. How are you looking to see them progress from last year's success?
Yeah, I want them to play with confidence, and that's kind of what I've been talking to both of them about, is that they were a huge part of our success. Honestly, I probably should have started playing both of them earlier, but they didn't necessarily do the things that were needed to earn that, right? And so I think that they've learned from that, and so they don't make that mistake again because we start with a clean slate. But I think they have that experience. They know now what it takes to get on the floor for me. They know what it takes to win games because we did that at a high level in the month of February last year. And so I think they've shown that. They've shown that they're definitely two guys that are going to play a lot of minutes for us early in the year, and of course throughout the year if they can continue to do what they're doing right now.